Good morning, children. Welcome to economics class. See, last class we finished chapter 7. Now let us move on to the 8th chapter, International Economic Organizations. Last chapter it was fully about international economics, and we learned few theories about international economics. We learned about what is balance of payment, balance of trade, and few theories about balance of payment and trade. And apart from that, we also learnt about the disequilibrium, when disequilibrium occurs, and about FDI, what is the objectives of FDI, advantages, disadvantages, and in which all sectors do we have FDI and where FDI is not permitted. With this, we finished the previous chapter, and I think the answers all you might have marked it. Please, if not, please mark the answers. Okay, if there is any doubt, please get back to me. I shall just clarify the doubts. Okay, and regarding the Q&A, you can follow the study material. If there is any change in the study material also, I shall just inform you. And last class itself, I told you I want any one of you to just take a pic and give me the diagram in page 142. None of you sent me that. Okay, all of you might have got the new book, figure number 7.3, page 142. I want any one of you to send a pic. Okay. Now let us move on to the international economic organizations. See, when we learnt about international trade, we were able to understand that many of the developed countries were able to gain because of the international trade, and the developed countries fund flow was there from developed countries to developing countries. And many a times developing countries, they faced huge problems because of the disequilibrium in the balance of payment. And apart from that, the Great Depression, which happened in 1930s after the World War, it led to so much of trade restrictions among the countries. So many of the countries were ready to export their commodities from their country to other country because they wanted the income to flow into their country, but they posed so much of restrictions on imports into the country, that is buying from other countries. So what will happen? Everyone was interested in doing a sale rather than purchasing from the other countries. So when this was a situation, many of the developed nations, they wanted to just set right this problem on a global manner. So the key enunciators of this international organization was John Maynard Keynes, whom we call it as J.M. Keynes, and Harry Dexter White. These two people were the key persons or the founding members to bring the first international organization, that is the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, into existence. They played a very major role in bringing these international organizations into existence. Thereby, they wanted to bring a free movement of goods and services as well as capital from developed country to the developing country. Just underline this, they were called as founding fathers of what? Of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. Underline that. Next is, when did the meeting or the conference took place to the starting of this international organization? So it was a Bretton Woods conference. Okay, in the Bretton Woods conference, the proposal to bring the IMF and the World Bank and the ITO, that is International Trade Organization, okay, to bring these three international organizations into existence, the proposal was made, and the proposal was made in 1944, and the World Bank and the IMF, it was started in 1945. See, before this World Trade Organization, now only we have the World Trade Organization. Before that, we had an organization or an agreement called as GATT. Okay, GATT means whenever you wanted to have trade relationship with the other country, you need to sign the agreement called as GATT. You call it as General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. And this GATT only was transformed or was transformed into the World Trade Organization from 1995 onwards. Till 1995, World Trade Organization was not into existence. Before that, GATT only was supporting the IMF and the World Bank. Any country who wanted to have international trade have to have signed the GATT agreement. Okay, now please underline all whatever I am taking in today's class is very, very important from objectives point of view, from 5 marks point of view also. So please underline these. Okay, in Bretton Woods Conference, it was proposed to start IMF, World Bank and international trade. In which year? 1944. And IMF and World Bank came into existence in 1945. World Trade Organization 1995. Okay, and you have a small table here below which tells us the year before the coming of the World Trade Organization, which was in existence. GATT was in existence, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. Underline that also. See, the headquarters of IMF, World Bank is given. It is in Washington, USA, and for WTO, it is in Geneva. It is in Switzerland, Europe. Next is, let us learn. Now in this lesson, we'll be learning about all the international organizations only. The main reason for the establishment of the international organization will be common. Apart from that, they have some other features also which differs from the other international organization. Let us first learn about International Monetary Fund. See, the main purpose of the setting up of the International Monetary Fund, that is IMF, is first thing is to promote economic and financial cooperation among the member countries. If any country who wanted to have international trade, they will become members of IMF. When they become members of IMF, it is a bound duty of the IMF to protect and promote what? A cooperation among the member countries. What sort of cooperation? Financial cooperation among the member countries. And thereby doing that, what is the benefit? The member countries are able to tide over whenever there is any disequilibrium in the balance of payment, they are able to tide over. Tide over means what? Overcome. Okay, it might be in the short term also. So whenever there is any short term disequilibrium in the balance of payment, with the help of IMF, they are able to overcome that problem. Right now, there are 189 member countries in IMF. With the recently joined country is Nauru. Okay, Republic of Nauru. Nauru is in Australia. Okay, underline that also. Right now, how many countries we have? 189 countries. Recently added country in 2016 is what? Nauru Republic. Okay, next is, what are the objectives of IMF? It is a 5 mark answer. Just 7 points you have. Very, very simple to answer. Okay, first point is, what is the main objective? To promote international monetary cooperation, that is financial cooperation. Among whom? Among the member countries. Second point is, it facilitates faster and balanced growth of international trade. See, if you are a member of IMF, your international trade speeds up. Okay, you are able to have international trade with the least difficulty, and whenever we have international trade, it is only towards the growth of the country. Next is to ensure exchange rate stability by curbing competitive exchange depreciation. Whenever any country has got huge difference in the exchange rates, see, one day if our exchange rate is, let us assume 1 USD is 72 rupees. The next day, the 1 USD is going down to 60 rupees. It is a huge change. Okay, it means that there is no stability in the exchange rate. Suppose if the member countries have any problem with the exchange rate stability, the IMF will intervene and see that there is stability. Next is to eliminate or reduce exchange controls imposed by the member nations. See, there are 189 member nations. All the member nations will have their own export restrictions and import restrictions also. So if any one of the member country, if the restrictions posed by any member country is a hindrance for the other countries, means then in such a situation the IMF will eliminate or reduce the exchange controls which is being posed by the member countries. If there is any restrictions or controls which is being posed by the member countries which is affecting the other countries, means definitely the IMF will see that it eliminates that control problems, exchange controls. Next is to establish multilateral trade and payment system in respect of current transactions instead of bilateral trade. Let me tell you what is bilateral trade and multilateral trade. Bilateral means if a country has trade relationship with only one country, okay, and that country also had trade relationship with the other country. See, take for example Bangladesh and Bhutan. Bangladesh and Bhutan, if they are, if it is said that they have bilateral trade, it means that Bangladesh buys from Bhutan and Bhutan buys from Bangladesh. That's all. Okay. So the trade is here. Exchange rate will be only between these two countries. So if the trade relationship is between two countries only, you call it as bilateral. You buy it from them and you give it to them itself. But International Monetary Fund always emphasizes on multilateral trade only. That is, one country having trade relationship with more number of countries. That only you call it as what? Bilateral trade. So India as such, we have bilateral trade only. We have trade relationship with many countries. Next is to promote the flow of capital from developed to developing nations. Every time the international organizations, they always aim at developing equality of income and income distribution among the world nations. It has to see that all the nations of the world, they develop on an equal manner. So many a times it has to confirm that money flows from the developed countries to the developing countries, not the vice versa. Okay, what will happen when money flows from developed to developing? Even developing countries will start growing and move towards the developed countries. Next is to solve the international problems of liquidity. Liquidity. Whenever any country has got the problems of liquidity, that is, they are because of the unfavorable balance of trade, they are unable to pay off. They are unable to pay off money to the other countries where they have had import transactions. Means during such time the IMF will intervene and give solutions for the problems of liquidating. How to just liquidate the what is it, the disequilibrium, or how to liquidate the problems with respect to the international trade. So these are the 7 points. All points are quite easy to learn, children. It is too easy and you can learn very easily as well. Next is the functions of IMF. What are the functions that are did by the IMF? This is again not a book back question, but we need to learn. First is bringing stability in exchange rate. Okay. The main task of IMF is what? Exchange rate stabilization should be there. So it will emphasize devaluation criteria. See, like how our Indian currency was devalued. It was devalued 2-3 times, is it? That is reducing the value of Indian currency. What will happen when devaluation is being made? Our currency's value is being less, is brought down. So by doing that, what will happen? When other countries purchase from India, it will be cheaper for them. Okay, so what will happen? Our exports will increase. And when we have to pay to other countries, okay, that will also be easy for us. The equivalent value is also getting reduced. As a result, exports also will increase, okay, and imports will automatically shrink for us. So this is one of the main reason for devaluing a country's currency. And thereby doing that, okay, you have to declare what is your currency in par with the other country's currency. This should be done in terms of gold, okay, or foreign currencies. Next is correcting BOP disequilibrium. I told you many times. BOP, balance of payment. Whenever there is any disequilibrium in the balance of payment for a short run, it is not on a long term basis, for a short period, okay, the IMF will help the member countries to minimize or solve the problems of disequilibrium. How will it solve? It will either sell the foreign currencies or it will lend foreign currencies to the member countries. Next is determining the par value. That is, every once in a year or during the stipulated time, every country has to have a system where they determine what is the par value of the currencies in par with US dollars. What is our currency in terms of $1 or in terms of gold? Okay, what is our currency in terms of gold? It has to be clearly mentioned. Why? For ensuring smooth working of international trade. Next is balancing demand and supply currencies. Whenever a particular country's currency is running short, okay, it is the currency is the supply of that currency is less, means then automatically the what is the exchange value of that particular country's currency goes up. So what will happen when supply of that currency is less? Okay, the price of the currency, that is exchange rate of that currency, automatically goes up. So the IMF's main function is to see that the demand for foreign currencies and the supply of foreign currencies are balanced. Only then the exchange rate will not vary. Only then there will be small, what is it then, not much range changes in the exchange rates, exchange rates of the currencies. Next is reducing trade restrictions. The fund mainly aims at, fund here means IMF, International Monetary Fund. It aims at reducing tariffs. Okay, tariffs and other trade restrictions. Suppose if a few member countries have posed so much of tariffs, okay, tariffs and trade barriers for movement of their goods to other countries, or for other movement of other countries' goods into their countries. By doing that, okay, by doing that, many of the member countries are unable to get the things, which are unable to sell their things, their commodities to the other countries. Suppose if a particular country doesn't allow the passage of goods from one place to another, means definitely it is a trade restriction. So IMF will come and see that and avoid all these discriminating practices. See, in European countries, in see for example, see, recently, Syria is such a small country. Okay. Syria is posing a very big threat to China. Okay. See, just imagine how big is China and how small is Syria. Okay. Through Syria only, all these years, transaction has been made through Syria to America. Okay. And to the American continent rather. Now, Syria is posing restrictions for movement of goods via Syria. So as a result, what is happening? Okay, China cannot take goods via Syria, which is such a small country. Now IMF will intervene and see that these restrictions are being removed by the member countries. Next is providing credit facilities. And the IMF provides helps the member countries, and it gives credit facilities, which will be seeing in the next topic. What are the credit facilities? It gives financial facilities to correct the short term and medium term disequilibria in balance of payment. Next is regulatory functions. Is it creates a code of conduct which should be followed by all the member countries. Next is consultative functions, which means it gives assistance, counseling and technical consultancy to the member countries who all need advice from the IMF. Because many a times only the developing countries might require all these consultative functions from IMF. That is all, children, with respect to functions of IMF. Next we shall see what are the facilities which are offered by IMF.